to you, sir.
Good morning.
You excited about today?
I'm excited in the sense that it's just another step closer to football actually starting.
Yeah.
I don't get too worked up over guys running around in their shorts and things like that to do drills, and but it's just the next step. You'll look at, hey man, who looks really good? Well, they're supposed to look good. They're collegiate athletes and things like that, and we won't ever see them actually scrimmaging against each other,
right?
Unless they do some of that in the open practice on, when is that, Sunday?
Sunday,
but I don't think that'll be the case. So I'm just excited because I know that's just the next step toward getting to the season.
I'm excited because it means it's here, right? Like now it's SEC Media Days. It's kind of like, all right, we're getting started very soon. And of course we had the breaking news during that week. Now it's like, here we are, and less than a month out from that first game. We'll see some people, right? I mean, what are we going to see? I don't know. But I'm interested in seeing, and you would know this better than I would, do people look bigger and stronger? What is the vibe like? What kind of business-like attitude are we going to see?
Yeah, and I think you'll see a very business-like attitude because, first of all, that's the culture that Jimbo Fisher's been trying to foster since he's gotten here. And secondly, and most importantly, I believe this is a team that realizes what is it has the potential to accomplish and is going to be focused on that from day one.
So I have this question that I want you to think about here as we go around and say hello to the world, and it's an obvious answer, but then I think we can kind of figure out a little bit more to it. So let's throw it out there. How many teams can realistically win a national championship? Obviously, I think most of us here believe A&M has a realistic chance at winning a national championship. October 9th will go a long way towards deciding that. Will they win a national championship? We'll have to see, but I think in the conversation today, they realistically do too. A couple other teams in the SEC, obviously Georgia, Alabama, and then throughout, who else has a realistic chance to win a national championship? Without giving me any names yet, what do you think the list is at? 5, 6, 7?
There's always going to be, or very often there's somebody that you just don't see coming. But I would think if you start the year in the top 10, you have a realistic chance. And then there's always somebody else.
Right.
I remember when Auburn won it, I think they started the year, I want to say 23rd or something. And that could be wrong, but they started way back. It happens. But to your point, typically there's a handful that really can go into the season thinking, okay, we've got more than a puncher's chance at this.
So one of our listeners, Eric, he tweeted at us, and he's going to call the show around 8:30 just to kind of, he did this, and I'll read his tweet, and then he can kind of explain it. He said he did an analysis on college football recruiting and found that only schools that have enough talent on their roster to win a national championship based on historical trends are. And he listed, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams, and A&M being one of those teams, and he kind of went through the numbers and how he found it. So I'm interested to see how he came up with that analysis, and he kind of explained it on Twitter, but I think he'll just verbalize it here on the show. But A&M is listed in there with the likes of Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, LSU, Texas in there as well, Oregon, and Oklahoma. So those are the teams that, based on analytics, recruiting analytics, have a real chance of winning a national championship.
I'm surprised Texas is in there, to be honest.
I am too.
Now, they did have a number 3 or number 4 class just a couple of years ago, depending on which service you adhere to. But Brew McCoy was part of that class, the big offensive tackle that went to junior college. Can't think of his name right now. He was in that class, Shepard or something. So even that class didn't truly rank as high as they were. So I don't know. And I think Texas is, quite frankly, should enter the year. And I think most people would agree, third in the Big 12.
That's what they are. They are a third-rate team in the Big 12 right now.
So, most people definitely put them behind Oklahoma and probably Iowa State.
Yep.
So that doesn't sound like a national championship contender to me.
They win those early games, though. They're, I believe the series with Oklahoma, although Oklahoma has won the Big 12 often, Texas has had their opportunities and won a couple of those recently. So, but yeah, they're the third best team in the Big 12 and potentially the fourth best team in the Big 12.
Well, I can't remember. Texas hasn't won, I think, a Big 12 championship since, 2009?
That sounds right. Yep.
Yeah. So more than a decade.
Been a minute.
In a watered-down conference.
Did you watch the Hall of Fame game?
I had it on for about 2 minutes because, it's for the most part, it's players you're never going to see. I did want to see if Buddy Johnson was out there.
And he was.
And he was
out there. He had a couple plays I saw on Twitter. Again, I think the Hall of Fame game to me is just like the start of A&M practice, right? It's just a step getting closer to having football on the weekends. That's it.
I mean, it's sometimes it's fun to watch just to see, but to be honest, for the most part, I'm watching laundry.
Right.
Hey, the guys who will not be playing for my team, but they're wearing my team's uniforms, so they're going up and down the field against a team I don't like in their uniforms. And yeah, some of the guys will play, but I'm not going to get too worked up over Nuño at quarterback, right?
Or the Cowboys losing 16-3. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. And we all know that, but it is nice to have football on.
So if you want to call the show, you can call the BCSI Associates hotline, 979-693-1150, or you can text the show A&B text line, Real Texas Banking, 979-693-1150. We have a lot of topics out there, but the big one we're going to discuss here is how many teams can realistically win a national championship this season, and why. Why do you think these are the group of teams that can do it? With that, we go around the room, and we start off with Daltonian. Dalton, good morning to you, sir.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, you guys missed. There was another Aggie that started from the first snap of the game. Dan Moore started at left tackle for Pittsburgh last night, protecting Mason Rudolph. So,
congratulations to Dan Moore.
So there was some Aggie presence in the game last night.
Were you watching?
It was on, kind of like OB said. It was on the TV, but I'm not going to say I watched it intently.
Are you a diehard Cowboys fan or nah?
No, my Cowboy fandom is funny to explain. I enjoy them being 12-4 and competing just as much as I enjoy them being 4-12.
How does that happen?
Watching the circus, because I enjoy the circus that is the Dallas Cowboys.
Well,
I'm gonna enjoy watching Hard Knocks and watching Jerry. OB, I'm surprised. Did you catch the pregame show?
I did not,
but I heard the news.
You would like it.
I was busy last night.
Yeah.
We were installing mirrors in our garage.
Okay.
First or second row. Oh. Yeah, Jerry and Jimmy were on the set together, and Jerry even said he'll put Jimmy in the Ring of Honor one day.
One day. So it's not imminent. It's not like it's going to happen this year.
He didn't put a date on it. Jimmy did ask him if he was going to do it while he was alive. And he said yes. So we'll see when that happens.
Why wait?
Yeah, he's responsible for 3 Super Bowls. I know he's only coached 2 of them, but
he is responsible.
But he's responsible for 3, and had he remained the coach, they might have won 4.
I mean, last night was a step in the right direction. I'm sure you guys have heard the stories just as I have, is how rough that relationship was at the end. To see them sitting together and laughing, things have changed clearly.
Hey, Dalton, remind us. So we have this. What do you call it? The skills challenge, not a skills challenge, but a challenge to our viewers, listeners to subscribe to our YouTube channel. How many YouTube subscribers did we have yesterday before we put the challenge out there? Do you remember?
I think we were like 6 away from 4,000.
Okay, so we're almost at 4,500. And we promised our listeners that if we get to 5,000 by the time roughly when Luch joins the show, we would keep it live all 3 hours. Right now, we're only promising an hour and a half, so I know we're going to be tracking that, but we're trying to grow that YouTube channel, so that was a great idea by you, Dalton.
Find 500 of your friends and get them to subscribe this morning.
I mean, just do it. Just do it. How often do you watch stuff on YouTube? Never?
Me?
Yeah.
No, more than often than you would think.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you a YouTuber? Subscribe to channels?
I do.
Do you smash the like button?
I do.
Have you subscribed to TexAgs?
Last night.
All right.
I sure did.
Yeah. You love the content?
I have to admit, I didn't watch it.
Okay. Well,
I just subscribed.
You're in it.
You're in a lot of the content.
A lot.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I didn't watch it.
Right. I get
Fair
that.
point.
No, I was just kind of surfing around. I saw that. So, I'm going to go ahead and subscribe.
Well, we would appreciate it, trying to get that number to 5,000 here before Liucci comes in so we can keep the whole show live today. With that, we go to the News and Social Center. Tori Esprovoa joining us. Good morning to you, Tori.
Howdy, howdy. I just subscribed on both of my profiles for YouTube. So
there you go.
There you go.
So what's up? What's going on in your world?
What's up? I got a couple headlines for you. Texas A&M football, Isaiah Spiller was named to the 9th annual Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award watch list, along with Kenyon Green, DeMarvin Leal, and Jalen Weidemeyer were named to the 2021 Rotary Lombardi Award watch list. Andy Kuntz, as we all know, placed 6th in the heptathlon, started day 2, finishing 5th in long jump, and then Texas A&M Maggie Malone finished 10th in place in the women's javelin throw.
Yeah, a couple things there, OB. We, at this point of the year, all these preseason awards or watch lists come out, and it's always a nice sign when every day there's a couple new lists that come out and several Aggies are on there.
Well, you certainly want to have your guys on all those watch lists because that means, first of all, nationally people think they're really good and deserving of being, hey, this guy could win this. So, you don't want it doesn't matter. I don't know that Buddy Johnson was on the list. He might have been, but, surely Johnny Manziel wasn't on lists and things like that. Mike Evans wasn't on lists. So
it's
guys can, but if you are, that just means that the national people are aware of you, realize you're really good. And if you have a bunch of guys on all these watch lists, that means you have a bunch of good players.
People are taking notice. In fact, I was surprised. There's a couple of lists that I'll go through later on in the show of A&M getting love from people or outlets that I'm not used to getting love from. And, people, I'll give you an example. Dennis Dodd, he believes this could be the turnaround year for Texas A&M. He has them on, let's see, forget the name of the article. But bottom line is he has A&M as one of those teams to watch. But he does think they will take a step backwards, but with that defense, watch out. And he had them as the Texas A&M's big turnaround year.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, wasn't that last year?
That was last year. Now, I understand that they don't follow Haynes King and Zach Calzada as closely as we do, and there is that question mark. I get that. But if you look at the amount of returning starters, a defense that should be the best in the SEC again, that reason alone is, I don't see a step back as the way to phrase it.
I understand the hesitancy when you have a new quarterback at a rebuilt offensive line. I understand that. I would probably, if I was in his position, probably rank A&M around 11th because there's this new quarterback.
Right.
And a rebuilt offensive line. But like I said, I have learned to trust Jimbo Fisher. If he tells me something, I believe it. And if he tells me that his guys are really picking up the offense and playing well, and the way he raves about what he thinks he has on the offensive line, then that gives me more confidence. But Dennis Dodd doesn't see that.
No, and I don't think he was unfair in his
No, he put him 6th.
But I will say, I'll ask you this: in years past, you say you trust Jimbo. When he doesn't have good let me rephrase that. When he doesn't know, does he say he doesn't know? Like if he had questions about the quarterback spot, he goes, we're still trying to fit. Or would he tell you, no, they're ready?
I think what he does is if he speaks well, then that means, they're going to be good. I feel like that he's satisfied. And, he's only going to be satisfied if they're playing well. I think I don't think he's going to tell you somebody's playing well because he's hoping they'll play well. We've had that here before. I think that he has a certain standard he wants guys to meet. And if they're not meeting that standard, he's not going to talk about. And I'll give you an example. Just last year, we were always asking about Damon Demas. And he said, Damon's out there working hard.
That's it.
Now, toward the end of the year, he would say, Damon's looking good. Looking good in practice, they got him out there. But earlier in the year, when we were clamoring for him, asking all about him, yeah, he's out there working hard.
And that's it. Yep, that tells you a lot. When we come back here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, we've got our 21 in 21 series presented by Factory Builder Stores. Number 16, This is a good one. I'm interested in getting OB's thoughts on our 16th ranked 21 and 21. We'll have that. If you want to be a part of the show, you can do that. 979-693-1150. That is the AMB text line. That and more here on TexAgs Radio.
For the complete contest and prize rules for 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, visit zone1150.com. No. Come get it.
AggielandBigDeals.com. Shop local, buy local, save big. I'm struggling, can't pay full price. How about Aggieland Big Deals? Yeah, that's right. I'll be shopping local and saving big with discounts up to 30% on food, clothes, and car repair, or even entertainment and personal care. Is it really gonna be convenient though? Just download the app right on your phone. Oh man, that's slick. Now I'm all in. Those digital certificates are fun to spend. Plus I can print and send gifts along at AggielandBigDeals.com.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country, and Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Polaris Fun Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV, or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XP1000. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC, and you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays from 2 to 4 on the Zone.
NHL star Matt Martin for American Humane.
Hi, I'm Matt Martin, and in all my years of playing professional hockey, I've gotten my share of bruises and injuries. But for many who really put their lives on the line every day, it's not always the injuries you can see that hurt the most. I'm talking about our veterans. Every single day, 184 veterans are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, and tragically, 20 take their own lives. When medications and therapy don't help, professionally trained service dogs can. American Humane, serving the U.S. military for over 100 years, has put together a free guide to help veterans obtain these life-saving service animals. If you are a veteran or know a veteran struggling with PTS, please go to AmericanHumane.org for this free, downloadable resource. Let's give our veterans the help they need to win their battle.
For more information, visit AmericanHumane.org.
This is ESPN Radio.
Head coach Mike Boynton, Oklahoma State basketball.
Immense talent, a work ethic that's been unmatched by any other kid I've coached.
Talking to Matt Nagy right now, the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
When I say the room is healthy, Andy Dalton is doing everything he possibly can to help Justin.
Charles Haley, Pro Football Hall of Famer.
I always believe that the fans, they're the ones that paid my salary. I always felt like I owed them something.
Talking to Pat Connaughton right now, NBA champion.
The talking head saying it can't be done, Giannis has to leave. It just makes it that much sweeter in the end.
Rams head coach Sean McVay.
Some of the most difficult parts of playing the quarterback position are really where he illustrates what a special player he is.
Hall of Famer Oscar Robertson.
It's a partnership. Now the players can decide if two or three want to get together. Years ago, owners could stop that.
Play the tight end position for the Green Bay Packers, Jermichael Finley.
If you got a guy saying, I'm not taking that shot, guess what that looks like? Oh, we ain't got a team player here.
ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Good morning, my friends. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Here in the Rollo Insurance. Why am I talking like that? In the Rollo Insurance. Do I sound sleepy?
No.
That sound normal?
Yeah.
I feel like my voice doesn't sound right. Let's get a team vote. Dalton, do I sound normal to you?
You sound fine to me. I'm the one that sounds weird.
You don't sound good. You don't. You sound better than yesterday.
I sound nasally today.
Well, that is not as nasally as yesterday. You're sounding good.
I can't wait. Olin's right. Experiencing sick Olin on the mic is...
Maybe I should just try to go into my Dave South voice.
No, don't...
Be the best I've ever been.
You're spinning the 60s hits radio voices.
Hey, now.
It's a thing that makes people feel.
A certain kind of way?
Some type of way.
Some type of way. Well, it is now time for 21 in 21 presented by Factory Builder Stores. We get to number 16. Factory Builder Stores can serve builders and general public with locations throughout Texas, including right here in College Station on Old Wellborn Road in Rock Prairie, just on the west side of the railroad tracks. Go see the good guys, Jason and John. They'll take great care of you of any appliance needs that you have. They got 7 showrooms, and they're just a great, great group of guys out there, so go check them out, Factory Builder Stores. Number 16, how do we phrase this, OB? It is I think we talked about it in the break, the defensive end opposite of DeMarvin Leal, because we kind of got a split again.
Yeah, because Michael Clemens and Tyree Johnson, in a lot of ways, are the same guy. Now, Michael's bigger.
Yep.
And he was on his way to having a great year last year before he got hurt. But injuries has been an issue for him his entire career. So I don't know that you can just – I mean, you hope that he's out there and able to play an entire year. But at this point, I don't know if you just take it for granted. But if you look at what the production of those guys, it's remarkable how similar it is. Michael Clemens started 5 games, had 4 sacks. Tyree Johnson.
All in the beginning of the year too, right?
Yeah. That was so Tyree Johnson started 5 games, and he had 4 sacks. They both had exactly 26 yards in tackles for loss. Now, Tyree had more tackles, but he played more because even when he wasn't starting early, he was still playing.
Yep.
So when you look at those two guys, I think they're both playmakers, maybe not the type of guys that the consistent just threat that they change a game. But Michael Clemens, I've seen him make plays. Tyree Johnson, if you'll recall, if I'm not mistaken, he's the guy that deflected Mac Jones's pass against Alabama that DeMarvin Leal intercepted and led to a touchdown that tied the game at 14. So, they're both, and I think they're both good against the run. Clemens is bigger, I think, but I think I would give Tyree the edge against the run. But I think they're just both really good players that if you take one out, you're not going to miss them because of the other one. So who's going to start there? I have no idea.
Do you have a scenario where they're all 3 out there at the same time? I guess it's going to depend. Did that happen much last year?
No, I don't ever remember them being – they might have been, but I don't ever recall them being on the field at the same time. I do can envision a scenario where you'll have 3 defensive ends out there.
Yeah.
I don't know which 3. It could be those 3 with, let's say, a Jaden Peavy in an obvious – or a McKinley Jackson, an obvious passing situation. But it could be Donnell Harris. It could be Fidel Diggs, who Jimbo spoke really well about. But when it comes down to who you're going to put on the field to start the game today, I could not venture a guess between Michael Clemens and Tyree Johnson. But I can say this, I would feel very confident with either one of them.
And especially opposite of DeMarvin, right? Like the balance that those two give him, right? The attention is going to go to DeMarvin Leal. So can they get through and break through?
And unless they move them around, but typically they were going against the left tackle. Like Tyree Johnson, he made that deflection. He was going against Alex Leatherwood. So DeMarvin is, unless they switch things around, he was typically, not always, but typically going against the right tackle. So, which I think is smart. I don't know why everybody always said, you got to put my best pass rusher against their best offensive lineman.
No, switch it up.
Yeah, switch it up.
J.J. Watt switches sides. That's what they do. Yeah.
I mean, you've got maybe the best defensive lineman in the country in DeMarvin Leal. Arguably, he's definitely in the discussion. Right?
Are they the best defensive line in the country, you think, because of that?
They could. They
could be.
They could be. I don't want to say they are, because quite frankly, I hear George is really good, but I haven't watched them, and I can't say that I know enough about everybody else. But I know what I do know about them is that they would definitely be in the discussion because of it starts with guys like DeMarvin and Peavy and McKinley Jackson, but then it gets back to that other end, and you got 2 guys that either one of them can play there. If you take one out, there's not going to be a drop off. They're probably of equal ability, and they're both really good.
It's going to be exciting to see how that defensive line shakes out. Some people say that this is the closest version of the wrecking crew that we've seen. Would you agree with that?
Well, it could be, and understanding that offenses are different. I'll say this, and I said this last year, is why, even though they were ranked 9th in the country, why I didn't think they were wrecking crew-esque. They still had some growth to do. And that's because those defenses would would shut down the best offenses. Think Houston and Andre Ware and that.
Shut them down.
A&M's defense was really good, but the better offenses still was able to move the ball on them. Alabama.
Is that because
Florida.
of different football, though? Like, how often do we see? Because this is a different game than we saw back then. Yes, they had the air raid and the run and shoot and whatnot, but it's just a different brand of football being played now.
Well, it is, but you still got to – and I'm not saying they need to go out and shut out everybody, but I would think you would look at what one team does on average. And when they played A&M's defense, were they less than what they do on average? I don't think that was the case with Alabama. I don't think that was the case with Florida. And I don't think that was the case with North Carolina. So I think that's the next step to before I can call this a wrecking crew type defense. Yeah, I mean, they dominated the majority of their opponents.
But not all of the opponents.
But, when they played the best opponents, those opponents might have been as good as, as they typically are. And I think to be the wrecking crew defense, again, Alabama probably beat you anyway, but, they're not going out and scoring 50 points.
Yeah. I think that's fair. It'll be interesting to see how these two guys develop here and their futures as well. I'm excited to see, though, who does come out of that beginning spot. That starting spot, I should say.
Yeah. Clemens was there last year, and he was on his way to a really good season. But like I said, then the way Tyree finished, I don't know that you look at him and say, wow, look at the way this guy finished. How do you take him off the field? But I'll say this, that position, that right defensive end position accounted for 8 sacks last year.
Yeah.
If that was one guy, you're talking about all SEC potential. I remember when Landis Durham and Montez Sweat, I think they tied for the SEC lead in sacks one year with 8.5.
I got to read this because it made me laugh. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's kind of funny. On our YouTube page, Chance Bitters says your Dave South voice sounds a little bit more like Richard Nixon.
I'm sorry.
Can you do that again?
The best I've ever been. Yeah, it probably does sound like Richard Nixon. Okay, I'll call it my Richard Nixon voice. I'm not a crook.
That was pretty good.
I don't do well on.
I have one accent, and it's very Latino. And no matter what, if I'm doing Russian or not, it's hello, how you doing?
Yeah. Gabe does a good job with impressions.
Does he really?
Yeah, he does a good Butthead from Beavis and Butthead.
Okay.
And so he does that. No, I just go, but I'm not very good on
Were you a Beavis and Butthead fan?
Oh, heck yeah.
You were?
Wouldn't you just assume?
I
getting to know my sense of humor.
Do you think I watched it?
No.
You're right.
No.
I mean, I knew
You're
about
a little bit more highbrow than I am.
Well, I don't know about that, but no, that wasn't my show. All right, we're going to continue on with OB here on TexAgs Radio. A moment, though, for the Association of Former Students. Love those guys, all of them out there, Porter, Catherine, Randy, you know them. You know that the Association of Former Students is the oldest organization serving A&M in support of the Aggie Network. Over 140 years, their financial gifts from the Aggie Network have empowered them to be here, there, and everywhere for Texas A&M and Aggies all over the place. I lost touch with the association for a little bit. I'm back in, all in. Started researching, you get busy with life. You forget to make the payment 1 August, let's say. Then they call you. You're like, I can't. Just do it, guys. Take the call. Make the pledge. It's such a good time, and it goes for such great causes out there. It's very cheap to do it. If you want to become a Century Club member, $100 a year, $9 a month. You get that decal, the plaque, the Texas Aggie magazine. Plus, you know that you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping Aggies. I want to encourage you to give to the association. It is a very rewarding experience, no doubt. To learn more about the impact of the association or get involved, make a gift, visit aggienetwork.com/giving.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. This Saturday, the College Station High School Cougar Band and Guard is holding their annual March-a-thon fundraiser. The band will perform from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. at the Tower Point HEB. Donate online at marchathon.com. Apply now for the Leadership Brazos 2021-22 class. Applications are due by Monday. Access the application at bcschamber.org. Trail Life USA Troop 12 is hosting a Join the Trail open house Thursday, August 12th at 6:30 p.m. at A&M Church of Christ. Find Troop 12 on Facebook for more information. For more information about becoming a Master Gardener, visit brazosmg.com. Do you love Aggie football? Then join the Liucci Hour, powered by King Ranch Saddle Shop, live from the tap every Monday and Thursday night at 6 p.m. Stop by for dinner and a drink or listen on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Hi, this is Jeff Vanderwood with Veribank. Veribank is continuing to grow in the Brazos Valley with a brand new full-service banking center on Highway 6 in front of Academy. We have a team of genuine bankers specializing in personal and business banking, wealth management, and investor real estate lending ready to serve you. Veribank is here to help you succeed financially, and you can bank on it.
Visit Verabank.com today. That's VERA Bank.com. Verabank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, it's David Nuño. Texas is known for football, barbecue, and hot summer temperatures. And typically, the hotter the weather, the higher your electricity bill. But with some help from Energy Ogre, a Texas technology company, you can lower your bill by up to 40%. In fact, we signed up 2 years ago, and they saved my family 35%. Energy Ogre will find you the cheapest electricity plan in your area. Manage all future contracts, saving you time and money. Go to EnergyOgre.com and enter code HOWDY for a free month of service. That's EnergyOgre.com to start saving today.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all season long. First Financial Bank, Bryan College Station Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Schulte Roofing, The Sleep Station, and Pioneer Steel. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Beginning Monday, August 9th, our much-anticipated, never-duplicated SEC football preview. The preview will break down each of the 14 teams and end with our world-famous predictions. This year's SEC football preview is brought to you by First National Bank, putting you first, and by the College Station UPS stores, each weekday afternoon at 4:30. Don't miss it. The SEC football preview beginning Monday, August 9th, right here on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
It makes me laugh.
You know, somebody's got to get paid to produce that music.
It makes me laugh, my friend. It is a good song. Welcome back to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So we're getting ready for A&M to start their first practice today, and we talked earlier about the Hall of Fame game. Have you ever been to Canton?
I haven't, and I want to. That's one of those bucket list things I need to do. I've gotten as close as Columbus.
I've gone to the Hall of Fame game, and I've gone to Canton before when Michael Strahan was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Houston guy, went to Texas Southern.
Texas Southern, yeah.
Yeah, we were there for that. It was good times. I loved it. I thought it was going to be a little further from Cleveland. It was not far at all. It was very nice. And in fact, goodness, I'm glad I brought this up. The way my brain works, amazing. I saw Johnny Manziel with Cleveland. I believe, I can't remember if I think it was his rookie year, but he played. We went to one of their open practices, and I got to see Johnny there. I forgot all about that, yeah.
Yeah, Johnny in Cleveland. Very forgettable.
Very forgettable.
I still believe that if Johnny Manziel had been focused on football and not having his other issues, that he would be Kyler Murray today.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. Or Baker. I do think he had so much of the it factor. He just was losing it, unfortunately. And I don't want to say I was an enabler. I didn't know Johnny at all. I talked to him a couple times, but didn't know him. But during his little run, I found ways to excuse it. Like, he'll grow out of it. He'll grow out of it. Some people do grow out of it.
Some do.
Some don't.
Yeah, and I think he grew out of it a little bit too late, obviously. But when you're the quarterback of a football team, of a professional football team, and you have grown men on that team with families, and you're taking money out of their pocket, if you're not completely focused, you start losing your teammates, and usually that's the last people that'll turn their back on you. But if you start losing your teammates, then you're done.
So earlier in the show, I told you about Eric in Frisco who had tweeted at us and also sent a text message on the A&B text line. I'm going to read his tweet, and then I'm going to take his call. He's going to kind of explain how he came up with this. But I recently did an analysis on college football recruiting and found that the only schools that have enough talent on their roster to win a national championship based on historical trends are Alabama, which we knew, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, LSU, A&M, Texas, Oregon, and Oklahoma. We'll go to the phone lines right now on the A&B on the BCSI hotline, and we will talk to Eric in Frisco. Hey, Eric, how are you, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, man. So how did this analysis come together?
Yeah, so kind of ironically, the similar question kind of popped into my head a few months back, and, I decided to kind of start diving into, college football and college football recruiting and kind of how that affects college football. And we always see the same teams in the college football playoff. And so I was like, I wonder if, we can make it really obvious kind of why. And we know that recruiting is extremely important. So I kind of just dove in and I took all of the recruiting rankings from 247 from, I think it's 2003. So when they started all the way till 2021. And what I did was I looked at each national champion from 2008 till now, and found kind of what their recruiting ranking total was, right? So the prior 4 years, it should give us a kind of an idea of what the talent looks like on each one of the teams. And then from there, I took, and I think the average came out to be about 1136, right? So that's, all of the recruits summed together, right? Which should be kind of a holistic look at their team. And then I took a standard deviation back from that and got about 1048. And then all the teams that are greater than that for this year is what that list is. And the list that you read is actually in order of quote unquote most talent to least talent. So those top teams of Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, LSU, the ones that have won, or in Georgia's case, not won in the last, 6 or 7 years, they're float to the top every time.
And I see your note that Texas A&M 1106.4 was their number, which is above the least talented champion, which was in 2010. You had Cam and Auburn.
Yeah, and one of the limitations of the way that I did this, just to kind of save my own sanity, is it doesn't take into account transfers, right? So, like a Brew McCoy, transferring from USC to Texas and then back, and inflating Texas's recruiting ranking a couple of years ago, or a Justin Fields transferring from Georgia to Ohio State, that kind of thing isn't reflected in here. And so Cam, for example, isn't reflected in the recruiting rankings for Auburn for those years. But obviously Cam Newton was an amazing player, and it just goes to show that what he did on a kind of somewhat inferior team relative to some of the other champions that we've seen in the last 15 years or so.
Yeah, what made Auburn win is on 3rd and 5, Cam Newton would always get 6 yards.
Yes, he would.
And I think Nick Fairley was the only other player, one of the only other players on that team that was really an individual standout.
Sure.
And he wasn't even until that year.
Hey, man, I appreciate the call and explaining it all to us, Eric. Thanks so much. It's interesting. I find it very interesting how numbers can it doesn't tell you the whole story, right?
It doesn't.
Things have to play out.
Right, because in 2012, I will – and by the way, his analysis is very interesting and for the most part accurate. I'd say probably 95% accurate, if not more. But in 2012 – I will go to my grave telling you that at the end of the year, the best team in the country was Texas A&M.
Agree with you 100%.
And if you looked at what that team, and quite frankly, if a kicker doesn't miss an extra point and a field goal, they may have won against LSU. They may have won the national championship. But if you looked at the recruiting rankings for that team, it probably wasn't that impressive. Now, you had the 1 year where they recruited the offensive linemen so well. You got Matthews and Jokel and
right.
Somebody else. Maybe it was a Boyhe all in one. But DeMontre Moore was a 3-star recruit. Mike Evans was a 3-star recruit. Johnny Manziel was a 3-star recruit.
I think what it does, though, is it shows you over a length of time, if you're hitting these, you're checking these boxes,
right,
you're in the mix.
You're getting really big-time talent in, and you've got a lot of it. And you don't have to, for the most part, hope that somebody that you didn't think was going to be a great player just emerges.
Right. Let me read this text message from on the A&B text line from Dave in Temple, who reminded me by looking at this. David, great job in your first month at TexAgs. Today is a month, right?
How about that?
Yeah, July 6th.
Open
How about that?
Fast.
I apologize to all the listeners out there. He does say something. I want to talk to you about this. My only criticism is if you want to sound like you live in College Station, you got to call it Wellburn, not Wellborn.
I always just say Wellburn. I guess that's how
you do it. Wellburn. So I went to school with Joe Wellburn, and I thought they would call him Joe Wellburn, not Wellburn, but maybe they did. And I got to ask him. I got to call him.
Who's Joe Wellburn?
I believe he is the grandson of Wellburn.
Oh, how about that?
He was a good old beta, an Aggie Cowboy. So I guess I've been saying it. You know, like there's people in Houston that say humble or umble. You got to say umble.
Do you?
Yeah, it's not humble. It's umble.
Okay. Well,
San Felipe or San Felipe?
I would think it's Felipe.
It's in Houston. They say San Felipe.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why.
It's like in Austin they say Manchac instead of Menchaca, and then the ultimate is Stephen McGee's hometown, Burnett, which everybody wants to say Burnett or whatever, and it's
Burnett.
They say it's Burnett, darn it, learn it.
Burnett, darn it. What's another one? Salado? Don't some people call it?
No, but probably Mejia.
Mejia
causes a lot of trouble. Waxahachie.
Gosh, see, now it's going to be, what was the other word? There was another word I was saying on this show that I couldn't say it, like, after talking to people.
I say a lot of words on this show that I can't say.
Well, this is true. But there was another word that I wouldn't say it, like, as freely and as comfortably as I should. I can't remember what it was. Somebody will remind me, but Wellburn. Dalton, how do you say it?
Wellburn.
Gosh, so I've been saying it wrong for 20 years.
I don't think anybody really matters.
No, Dave in Tampa cares.
Richard says your other word is cavalry.
Cavalry. That's right. I can't say cavalry without slowing it down. I was calling it cavalry the other day.
Yeah. Well,
cavalry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cavalry.
Richard, appreciate you. All right. Right now, I want to remind you guys to text 900-900 for your chance to win the big Friday giveaway, courtesy of our friends at Aggieland Outfitters. Obi, I just want you to pretend like you're part of this ad for a second. Look at this. Look at this shirt.
Oh, that's a nice shirt.
Isn't that a nice shirt? I really wish they would have given it to me to like model it on the show, wear it, and keep it. But it's a very nice shirt. Love this one. In fact, I'm going to put it on my lap and pretend like I didn't put it back in the bag. But it's the Adidas sideline polo that features the A&M logo star on the left chest and the Adidas logo in maroon, by the way, on the right side. Made with Prime Blue, a high-performance recycled material made in part with Parley Ocean plastic. That means it's been made out of recycled polyester from plastic intercepted from marine communities before it reached ocean waters. Aero-ready technology manages moisture to keep you dry and comfortable. Perfect for those hot midday Aggie football games. I'm looking at it. I really like it. I love it. Your size in this new Adidas sideline polo is valued at $74.99. Please let me keep it, thanks to my friends at Aggieland Outfitters.
The Zone. Aggieland's all sports station. Start your sports day with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Powered by WC Tractor. Weekday mornings 5 to 8 on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Or just tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150. WC Tractor is your local award-winning Kubota and New Holland dealer. Call them with your questions at 1-888-8-TRACTOR. That's 1-888-8-TRACTOR. Check them out online at WCTractor.com. Rise and shine weekday mornings 5 to 8 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin from ESPN Radio. Powered by WC Tractor here on the Zone.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family.
Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education and to finish what I started to get my diploma. Just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Do you love Aggie football? If yes, join the Liucci Hour, powered by King Ranch Saddle Shop, every Monday, Thursday night at 6 p.m. It's the Liucci Hour, happy hour, Monday, Thursday nights at 6 p.m., live from the tap. Join Billy Liucci of TexAgs. Join Zach Taylor, the infomaniac, as they get you ready, get you hyped every week, every game, Aggie football 2021. King Ranch Saddle Shop. They feature authentic goods inspired by the original Texas Ranch. Look them up online, krsaddleshop.com. Liucci Hour this upcoming fall, every Monday, Jimbo said, thanks to B&B Automotive. And every Thursday, it'll be the Tap Pick'em contest, win great prizes. B&B Automotive. They're located on South Coulter in Bryan, treating you like family for 35 years. It's the Liucci Hour, happy hour, Monday, Thursday, 6 p.m., powered by King Ranch Saddle Shop. Join us at the tap or listen in here on the Zone.
Yeah, we're having a show meeting off the mic. The whole world heard it. It's the Go Hour coming close to an end here, not forever. But by the way, I didn't want to scare the people, just for the day. Olin Buchanan here with us for one last segment here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. People are saying we do sound nasally. I don't know if they're talking about OB or myself or Dalton, but we sound nasally.
Well, guilty.
Guilty?
That's what I have to say. I can't deny it.
Hey, so the expectation is Bryce Anderson to announce later on today.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Did he put that out on Twitter himself? He did, right?
I think he did.
Yeah, I think somebody had posted a picture of his, and I don't have it in front of me. It had half maroon, half orange, as you would expect. But the very top of it, like the whole headline part, was all maroon.
Well, that's funny the way people will look for any little thing that can make them feel confident or ease their angst. He's going to decide at 1 o'clock. Hopefully he'll pick Texas A&M, and hopefully that'll open the floodgates for a lot of other guys to decide to commit. But if he does not, I think Jimbo Fisher is going to be just fine with wherever he decides to go. And when it's all over with, he's going to have some good DBs in and a good class.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some. But he has had a game plan throughout. He's gotten the type of players we expect. I don't know why. I don't know the kid. I'm expecting him to pick Texas A&M just because I feel like that's what everybody's doing now. That's where you're going to go. That's the place.
Well, I think from all accounts, he had a great time last weekend, just like so many of those other big time recruits that were in.
Right.
And a lot of times, if you're the last school they visit before they announce, that typically is a good thing. But I've learned a long time ago, Harvey Williams, not to just assume everything's going your way. Harvey Williams got out of his classroom, as all Aggies know, going down to the library or the principal's office to sign with A&M, and somewhere between the classroom and wherever he went, he decided to go to LSU.
Yep. I'm going to read this one from David Tampa, who made fun of me for, not made fun of me, he just wants me to fix my Wilburn. So I'm going to say it fast. That way.
Temple, right?
Yep. Dave in Tampa, not Temple, sorry.
Oh, Tampa.
Yeah. We've got Daves everywhere. We got one hosting the show right
guy
now.
all the way in Tampa.
All the way in Tampa, yeah.
Okay.
East Coast bias. Two guys are driving through Mahia. One guy says, you know how it's pronounced? Mahia. The other guy says, no way, it's Oh, this is harder.
Mexia.
There we go.
I know the joke.
Oh, you know it? Can you finish it?
So they go into Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Right? And they're eating, and the waitress comes by, and he says, hey, would you settle a bet for us? How do you pronounce this place? And she says, Dairy Queen. Is that the joke?
That's the joke. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think it's better when you know the joke than reading the joke off a text message. Let's go link up with Tori Esprevo there in the News and Social Center.
Hi, I have Jamie from TexAgs Forum saying, I'd say whoever's the top 10 to 15-ish in recruiting rankings over the last 4 years, obviously Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, who recruit tip-top have an advantage.
Okay. I can roll with that. By the way, guys, I'm just all over the place this morning. It's time to bank on it. Presented by Vera Bank. Authentic relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see our friend Joel Jackson, and the team. Learn more at verabank.com. Obi, do you got anything that we can bank on?
Yeah, actually, we just spoke about it, and even though I do like to proceed cautiously, I'm banking on Bryce Anderson announcing that he's going to come to A&M, and that starting the domino effect with a lot of big-name guys committing to A&M.
So you went with something we just talked about, but you finished with something I'm about to talk about,
Okay.
and I'm kind of agreeing with you. You can bank on more guys. This is going to start, what do they call them, a brush fire?
Brush fire.
For A&M. It's going to be guy after guy. We've done really well the last few years. We're about to take it up a notch as well.
Well, I certainly hope so. But I think when all is said and done, Jimbo Fisher is going to compile another top 10 class and maybe a top 5.
I agree with you there. Good job this week, my friend.
Thank you.
I'll see you at practice in the next hour. We got an open segment if you want to get your calls in, 979-693-1150. We'll take them there on the BCSI hotline or on the AMB text line. You're listening to the TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country, and Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Polaris Fun Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV, or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XP1000. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC, and you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays from 2 to 4 on the Zone.
I've got a math question for you. When you add tolerance, subtract prejudice, and multiply efforts to treat one another with respect, what do you get? Less division. And school sports have it down to a science. Looking for an example of what can happen when we realize there's more that unites us than divides us? Look no further than high school sports in Texas.
This message presented by the Texas University Interscholastic League and the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association.
Download podcast of your favorite shows, Louie, Chip, or TexAgs in the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Subscribe and have them downloaded daily for you in the Pod Center at zone1150.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. Texas A&M announces how the university will operate fall semester classes with the ongoing pandemic surge.
The announcement includes holding in-person classes at full capacity. Students and employees are required to participate in mandatory pandemic testing. Those who test positive, have symptoms, or have close contact with someone with the positive test are to contact and cooperate with A&M's Pandemic Operations Center. There are sanctions for those who do not comply. Due to the governor's executive order, A&M cannot require vaccinations and wearing masks. University strongly encourages those and other preventative measures. You can read A&M's statement at WTAW.com. Bill Oliver, 1620 94.5 WTAW.
Local governments around Bryan and College Station are getting certified property valuation numbers to plug into their proposed fiscal year 2022 budgets. The City of Bryan's Chief Financial Officer, Will Smith, reported that the value of existing properties in Bryan rose by 1.4%.
That's actually low compared to our historical numbers. Over the last 20 plus years, you can look at somewhere between 5.5% and 7% growth year over year.
Smith had an explanation for the comparatively low growth in the value of existing properties.
I think that has more to do with the way that they were valued than it does with the numbers, because we certainly have more growth as far as just construction goes.
Smith said the value of new construction in Bryan increased by 3%. The proposed federal infrastructure bill now has an amendment that would expand the congressional designation of Interstate 14, which includes a connection to Bryan College Station. The Gulf Coast Strategic Highway Coalition says the U.S. Senate has followed the House in expanding I-14 east of central Louisiana to Augusta, Georgia. About 25 miles of the 1,300-mile interstate has been built from west of Killeen to Belton. No construction timetable has been announced by the coalition. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Forgetting a birthday isn't Alzheimer's.
Forgetting your own birthday might be.
Trouble remembering a name isn't Alzheimer's.
Forgetting your child's name might be.
If someone you love shows signs of Alzheimer's, start a conversation. You may be their best hope for a better quality of life. Learn the signs at dshs.texas.gov/Alzheimer's. See the signs, start a conversation. Funded by the Texas Department of State Health Services.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all season long. First Financial Bank, Bryan College Station Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Schulte Roofing, The Sleep Station, and Pioneer Steel. Here's a big gig'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hoco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HocoSupply.com. Texas A&M football has released its official roster for the upcoming season. No big surprises other than sixth-year linebacker Aaron Hansford changing his number from number 33 to number 1. Now, that was the digit worn by fellow linebacker Buddy Johnson, who left this past offseason to enter the NFL. The Aggies kick off fall camp today with an open practice set for Sunday at Kyle Field. Fans can enter at 4:30 p.m. And sticking with football, running back Isaiah Spiller has been named to the 9th annual Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award watch list. The Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award recognizes the top offensive player in Division I football with ties to the state of Texas. Spiller, a junior from Spring, racked up over 1,200 total yards last year while accounting for 9 touchdowns. In some other preseason accolades, offensive lineman Kenyon Green, defensive lineman DeMarvin Leal, and tight end Jalen Wademeyer have been named to the 2021 Rotary Lombardi Award watch list. And A&M baseball coach Jim Schlossnagel has named Chuck Box as the Aggies' next director of player and program development. A 32-year coaching veteran, Box comes to Aggieland following a 4-year stint as the head coach at Hartfield Academy in Jackson, Mississippi. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hoco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin.
I'm scrolling through the television, and I told Jay I found myself watching Hollywood Exes.
He always finds the most random stuff to watch. It's investigative or some kind of reality show.
Because it's on television, and it's good conversation because some of the stuff that they were saying, I was like, really? Where was I at when all this was going on?
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. ESPN Radio. Mornings 5 to 8 on The Zone. Thanks to WC Tractor.
These songs are so good. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. The show topic today is how many teams can realistically win a national championship this season. It's not a big list, obviously, but let's kind of break that down. We can take your calls this segment as we do have an open segment. You can call the BCSI hotline at 979-693-1150, or you can text the show on the A&B text line under that same number, 979-693-1150. I do want to give you guys an update. So we're moving at a snail's pace. We have this challenge, and it's not looking good, guys. It is not looking good, but that's okay. There's only like so many people in this world that are on YouTube, but we're trying to get our YouTube subscribers to 5,000 by 9:40, 9:35, in that range. Dalton, can you give us the most recent update? I think we're about 500 short. Is that correct?
About 525.
520.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if everybody does their part listening, just says, you know what, man, I got a Gmail account, I got a YouTube account, I'll subscribe. I want to see your content, guys. There's a good chance we'll put some stuff up this weekend as we're exiting some of the practice stuff. I don't know what we're going to be allowed to shoot, but at least you can get some commentary, some reaction from us, from the gang going out there to Texas A&M football practice. The schedule plays out as follows. They'll practice today. We'll be there at 4:45-ish, I believe, for a little bit. We'll be there Saturday, and then Sunday, it's media day in the morning, and then it's practice in the afternoon. That's the open practice if you want to be a part of that. We will be there enjoying it, and if you are at the practice, come say hello to me. I'd love to chit-chat with you a little bit. We started our show today with our 21 and 21 presented by Factory Builder Stores, and we had our defensive ends opposite of the Marvin Leal, Tyree Johnston, and Michael Clements. They're coming in at number 16. The show as follows is not too loaded, but loaded. We got Gerrod Chadwell coming in, the women's golf coach, coming into studio. He'll be here 9:20-ish, next segment. Cole Thompson, who's the host of a national show called Just Saying It on SportsMap and Fansided. He talks a lot of A&M. We'll get him on the show at 9:35. We've got Around Aggieland at 9:50. And Billy Liucci in studio for the 10 o'clock hour. A lot to get into with him. Hey, Luch at 10:35. But one of the things that I wanted to get into here is, as we talk about the way people are looking at A&M differently, still not enough guys are on the train. Not enough national media pundits are seeing where we are. But one of the things that I do like that I've seen is College Football News has consistently really propped up Texas A&M, and they have a college football playoff scenario. First-time powerhouse teams. These are teams that could end up in the college football playoffs for the very first time. For some reason, A&M and Texas are always linked, and Texas is in this little mix. I don't like it, but I'm going to read it to you. The 4 teams, first-time powerhouse teams that they have on this list are as follows. Texas, which I disagree with, Texas A&M, totally co-sign, and USC and Wisconsin. What he has, or what they have here in College Football News when it comes to Texas A&M is A&M could have been the number 4 spot last year, but it didn't have the win over Clemson like Notre Dame did, or go ahead and put Florida in the spot from the SEC. But A&M would be more fun if. Then they throw in Texas for 2 reasons. I would crank up the hype for the SEC expansion that much more, and a Texas versus Texas A&M Cotton Bowl semifinal would be epic. How about just Texas A&M in the semifinal? We don't have to have Texas in there just yet. We're going to play them here in a couple years anyway. Why don't we wait for that? But what I do like is the stuff that we've been saying on this show from before I got here. The stuff that we saw in 2020 developing in real time. Because 2019, there were still some questions like, man, I hope. There's no more I hope. This is more I know. I know A&M is on the right trajectory. They're in the mix, and they're going to be in the mix for the foreseeable future. One of the 5, 6, 7 best teams in the country. And regardless of where they come in ranked right now, and some people have got them as high as 6, some people are a little bit lower. Regardless, the conversations are, yeah, A&M could be that team. Could be and should be that team. And we're seeing it different than in years past with the narrative. Again, you have to do it consistently, and I expect that to be the case. But I think that was the biggest problem for A&M last year and not getting invited was the old, tired narrative of them not getting it done at the end of the year because they were getting it done all year. The one time they didn't, and look, we all talk about the eyeball test. We all talk about what we see. What we saw last year against Alabama was a closer game than that score indicated. That being said, it was still a 28-point loss, and I understand that was held against them. But the resume that they put together from that point moving forward, and really after the Vanderbilt game, the resume that A&M put on last year, now fast forward to where we are now, the momentum train has left. It has left the station, and we are headed in the right direction. And it's about time that people do see that we are deserving of that ranking. And when I get out there to practice, again, I've never, not during the Jimbo era, been to an A&M practice. Maybe I've come once. I can't remember. When I worked at Channel 13, in the very beginning, when I was there in 2012, we came to a lot of A&M stuff. It was we had a little bit bigger staff at the time. A&M was a national story every weekend. Thank you, Johnny, and thank you, Mike, and the crew. But we were here all the time. We came to several of the games and came to, Johnny getting love there on campus. Was it right after he won the Heisman? We were here several different times. After that, U of H kind of went up the ranks, and they started playing pretty well with Tom Herman. And we didn't have as big of a staff, so we couldn't go to as many things. We were more local. But I expect the national media and regionally for people to be here every week this season. You don't want to come just for the Alabama game. That's what some people do. Like, I'm just going to come to the Alabama. No. You got to start early on. And you're going to see the difference here with the team. You're going to see a much better version of A&M than I even think we saw last year. And not just because they didn't get invited, but I do think the defense is going to take a step up. I think the offensive line, even with the question marks that we have for them, is going to improve, and by year's end be maybe even better than we saw last year. That's just the way I look at it. If you want to call the show, you can. 979-693-1150 is the phone number on the BCSI hotline, or you can text the show on the A&B text line, Real Texas Banking. I said, how many teams can realistically win the national championship? I haven't really come up with a number. It's not like I think 6, I think 7. But I think you can typically cap it at that number. And when you look at who are the teams that can go in there, I wrote on the thread on TexAgs, obviously Bama, Georgia, A&M, in no particular order, Clemson, Oklahoma. And Oklahoma more than anything because of the conference that they're in, and they continuously win that conference, and I think they'll do that again. Ohio State is obviously going to always be in the mix. Absolutely. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's the realistic list. Now, there is always a team that could show up out of nowhere. Last year you could have said Cincinnati. Jay Clover on the message board says he doesn't think Oklahoma can win it. He would go with Bama, A&M, Clemson, Ohio State, and Georgia. But teams to be in the mix, Oklahoma, Cincinnati, North Carolina, Notre Dame, maybe Indiana, Northwestern, and Penn State. I still think the list is small, and it'll stay small throughout the year. It's not going to be a huge expanding list. And realistically, from that realistic group that can win it, you get 3 from the SEC. And a couple of the teams are going to play each other in the first week of the season, in Georgia and Clemson. What does that mean for Georgia moving forward, or Clemson, right? Clemson's going to be in the mix because they're going to win the ACC. But Georgia really needs that game. Georgia absolutely needs that game. But Bama, A&M, then who do you got? You got those 3 for sure in the SEC, Clemson. And those are the realistic ones, in my opinion. Oklahoma, I did put them in the initial conversation, but they're just outside of that. But they're going to probably get a seat at the table, and that's why you have to take them. And Ohio State's going to get a seat at the table. You're not going to have 3 SEC teams in there. You're not. Absolutely not going to have that. But it is trending in that direction. And when you look at what A&M has to navigate through, I love the way their season starts. I think there's a lot to be excited about getting some of those reps early on and preparing you for Alabama as opposed to how they went through it last year in the tests that they had. But you start off with Kent State, Colorado, New Mexico, then Arkansas. Favored in all of those games, including Mississippi State. But I feel like they're a buildup. Each week is kind of a little bit tougher. Now, New Mexico is not that they're a buildup, but Arkansas, even though I think will destroy them, those games are always interesting. Mississippi State, you destroyed them last year, but you don't know what you're going to get with Mike Leach and that offense if they're able to figure it out here in year 2. But again, all those games leading up to what will be a great October 9th atmosphere here. And when we head out to practice later on today, it ain't going to tell us anything, guys. I apologize about that. We're really not going to know much. But at least we're going to see them. At least we're going to get some movement towards that first game. And I'm just pumped about it. I am absolutely pumped about it. All right, so we got about another segment to go here on the YouTube stream. Numbers slowly moving up, but we're trying to get it up there. So it's just over 500 subscribers left to go if you want to have the Luch Hour on YouTube. Regardless, though, you can become a member on the TexAgs forum. Just go to texags.com/subscribe, and you can talk on the chat in there as well. And yes, Positive Yardage, he is ignoring your questions. Talking about Dalton. There's no doubt about that. All right, when we come back here on TexAgs Radio, talk a little women's golf with Gerrod Chadwell, the women's golf coach here in studio.
It's TexAgs Radio, weekday mornings from 8 to 11 here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone. You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country, and Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Polaris Fun Center sells and services Polaris ATVs, Rangers, Razors, Global Electric Cars, Brutus, and the Polaris Slingshot. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC. And you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
Skilled trade workers are the backbone of every community, and also the Army National Guard. Soldiers trained to keep the power flowing, engines running, and in every other trade needed to accomplish the mission. These soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Texas Army National Guard. Aired by the Texas Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Tides can turn quick on the water. Progressive's boat insurance has you covered with basic plans starting at $100 a year. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Annual premium for a basic liability policy not available in all states. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Unfiltered. Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mahente.
When I was with the Jets, they had me as the emergency quarterback in '99.
Would you have enough swagger to throw it to yourself and then run under and catch it?
No, it was we had a game plan. Simple. 10 plays, easy as pie, a couple sprints to the right, throw the hitch. If the guy is off of him, throw the hitch. If he's up on him, throw the corner out or throw it in the third row. That's it. It's not that difficult.
How about this 7 days?
I love the way you break it down. It's not that difficult.
It's not. Man, to put a simple game plan together, it's not that difficult.
All right. I ain't trying to say in that cockpit.
I didn't say I'm in the gun, so I already got space away from the defensive line. I never had to go underneath the center. It would have been fun.
It's Keyshawn, J-Will, and Zubin. ESPN Radio. Mornings 5 to 8 on the Zone. Thanks to WC Tractor.
It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Gerrod Chadwell here with us, women's golf coach for A&M. How are you, man?
Good. Good morning.
We're having a conversation. We're in a similar place, 100 miles an hour. We make the move to College Station right around the same time. It's just been crazy for you, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been. We'll officially get moved. The truck will show up on Thursday, so it's. With recruiting, it's easy. You're living out of a suitcase anyways. But my wife plays professional golf, and she just played 5 weeks in a row. So it's almost like we're passing in the house, packing for one trip to another. But I'm ready for that truck to show up Thursday and life to slow down a little bit and get ready for the upcoming season.
Yeah, I remember when you were announced, thinking to myself, we're going to be going through. He's going to be a lot busier than I am, but it's very similar emotions of. Moving, and we're moving like 3 times, unfortunately. We moved from our house that we sold in May to my parents' house to an apartment, now eventually to a house that's going to be built sometime and done in October. But it's like one thing after another, and you've got to worry about recruiting and getting your team ready.
Yeah, it was, and you go from, we hadn't been recruiting for 15 months, pretty much for the most part. It was all virtual or on the phone, and then it literally, recruiting goes 100 miles an hour because you're on a plane every week because these kids haven't been seen for 15 months playing golf. So you're trying to get as many evaluations in on them as you can. So, I was watching an event every week. The beauty of that is most junior golf tournaments are the first of the week, and then my wife was playing at the end of the week. So, I was literally living out of a suitcase for the past 2 months. And then you toss in that trying to hire a new assistant to get them on the road. So it was just a one-man show for almost a month. So there wasn't really 2 staff members recruiting. It was just 1. So I was trying to cover a lot of ground.
So how did you end up here at Texas A&M? Take me through like just the change, because you had so much success at the University of Houston. How did you end up here?
Well, it was being an hour and a half away. You always kept your eye on what was going on here, excuse me. And, they made a change here. The 3 years ago before Andre was hired, I had a call about the job. They went a different direction. So, I've had my eye on the job for a long time. And then as things got going, after our season was over, it became more of a realistic opportunity. So, it's a place that you always keep an eye on what they're doing. And you just hope for the opportunity. And we had to do a good job at Houston to have an opportunity. So, and I've told people that, starting a program at Houston, it can go one of 2 ways. You're not inheriting anything. It's your own program. So we had to make that a great selling point of program history to probably have an opportunity here. So, you could say it started 7-8 years ago when I was hired at Houston to have an opportunity here.
For Aggies, it's obvious why people pick Texas A&M, right, and why they want to go here. But what was so attractive to you about this opportunity?
I would say, when we have a 2.5-year-old, just raising a family in an environment that we feel like is conducive for our values. Secondly, the opportunity to compete at a high level, and just all the resources that provides here. There's no reason that this program can't be successful to compete for championships every year. And that's all you can ask for as a coach. I know a lot of people say happy wife, happy life. Mm-hmm. This was a place that my wife wanted to be too. We're an hour and a half or so from my in-laws, her parents, so we have support with our little one for travel. So it checked every box for us. There wasn't anything that was a deterrent. Even though you have sentimental value leaving Houston of a place that you started, it was just a chance really to compete at the highest level and have all the resources to do so.
You brought up your wife there, Stacy. Just how do you guys make it work? She's traveling, you're traveling. Like, you said a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah, that was the common question for the past month. And even more so now, I don't know of what we went through these last 2 months, because if she has an off week, it truly is an off week. She doesn't really touch the clubs. We hang around, do stuff as a family. But now we're like trying to find a refrigerator, trying to do this and that, getting every thing set up at the house. So I feel sorry for her because her off weeks truly haven't been off weeks. So it's almost when she gets on the road, it is almost an off week that she can just focus on golf and Chesney. So but we truly understand what each other does. She was a college athlete. I think it takes a special woman to marry a coach, as a male, obviously, but to understand what I do, dealing with young women who constantly need attention, guidance, and everything else. So you walk into the house and you might be wiped from the day for just pouring into these young women, and you gotta be a husband and a father. So she truly understands what I go through on a daily basis, and as a professional athlete, I understand what she goes through and the demands that her career needs and the time that she needs to get ready to go on the road. So it works, and I think it is two understanding people that truly support what each other do as a career, and we figure it out.
And you came to the right community too. You talked about the values being in place, and that's one of the selling points for us was like, I want to raise my kids here.
Absolutely. School systems are great. We were over at Wendell volleyball assistant had everybody over last night, their staff, and then Giovanna, my assistant, and I went over there, and little kids running around everywhere, and it just seemed normal. And to see how we can plug into that and grow as a family with other families and truly have help. Like everybody there said, just let us know if you need help with the move, what we can do, if it's watching Chesney for a little bit. And it's like, I've said this for a month, like you're truly going to have to tell people no, like I don't need your help. But when I do, you'll be the first person I call. And it's a special place. I grew up in small town Oklahoma, and it just has all those similar feels where people are truly genuine and they truly just want to help.
Gerrod, what's your vision for the program? I know obviously national championships and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
but just and how you maneuver through that with what you have in place and where you want to take it.
We got to identify the best talent in the state of Texas first, and I don't think that has been done very much in the program. So we're really trying to identify these young women from Texas that'll help us really get the ship steered in the right direction. We'll always sprinkle international talent around that. We added 3 transfers with the freshman class of 3. So the first thing I try to do is get us steered in the right direction, is create competition at home. I don't know if there had been that. Obviously, I hadn't been here before, but that's the one thing that I thought helped us at Houston starting a program was create as much competition at home, and that leads to just sharper skill sets on the road. So we added a lot of depth. We had a lot of competition. I think that'll get us turned in the right direction, and we'll have that for the next couple of years. And that buys us time to go, get some freshmen to work on our own, incoming classes to sprinkle with that talent. And I think we're going to be a lot better than the record shows, the ranking shows last year. So if you said, hey, who's your top 5 going to be come September 13th when we had the first tournament, I could not tell you one single person that's a lock to be in there. So I'm excited to see once the line gets drawn in the sand of, all right, we're going to start qualifying to go to Dallas, who steps up and what that band trip looks like going up there, who's the 5 in there. So I'm excited about that because there's no preconceived notions of Susie's going to be in the top 5. So I'm excited about that.
So we talked about the balance that you have to figure out with recruiting and obviously home life. What about getting to know your players? Like, have you had an opportunity to try to develop a relationship?
A little bit, to the extent that you would like, no. But we had a Zoom call with a team on Wednesday, and laughter, energy, everybody's excited. There's a clean slate coming in, so you can kind of sense that change maybe in the energy around the building. But there's been some girls that have been in College Station over the summer. They're playing a lot, so obviously I've seen them just a little bit more. I haven't been here a ton myself, but to get to know them, the way to coach them, no. Our first, before school starts, we'll do a weekend trip to Blue Jack. I call it our team retreat, and it's literally a get to know. There's not really much golf involved. It's just going to spend a weekend out there bonding, being vulnerable, helping us learn to where we need to meet them at in their walks and their life, and we'll go from there. The fall starts pretty quick, and it's, we'll play 4 events in 6 weeks. So it'll give us an idea of where we're at. And then, I think our off season will be kind of shoved into overdrive of really getting to know these young women and how we can help them navigate this chapter.
You talked about it being a real quick start. You guys are starting real soon, right?
Yeah, it was, I'm used to starting around the 23rd of August-ish. It's
Okay.
always that first, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. We start school here the 30th, which is, it takes away that week of kind of getting your feet wet, of getting everything done, physicals, onboarding, class schedule, just figuring everything out. We start on the 30th and we leave, the 11th or 12th for a tournament. So it's literally 2 weeks with a holiday weekend in there too, that, we're going to have to be ready to roll on the 30th, of being in the gym, practice, qualifying, and then before you know it, the van will be backing out, heading to Dallas. So it takes away that week of just kind of getting settled, that we're going to really have to do a good job of getting that stuff done before school starts. So we're trying to get organized as possible, but when you have 10, 11 young women show up, it's just your whole plan just goes away, and it's like, all right, what do you need today? How can I help? So we'll figure it out, but it's plenty enough time to get ready to go compete for our first event.
You excited?
I am excited. I'm ready. Recruiting is, obviously it's one of the lifelines to our program. Women's golf, unlike men's golf, doesn't have a recruiting calendar, so we could literally recruit almost 365 days out of the year. It's not hard to identify talent. I don't like the babysitting recruiting where you're just going to get FaceTime with them. You identify, hey, we really want you here. But I feel like the way our sport is set up, you have to go just to go a lot of times. So it really takes a lot of time away out of the summer where the guys just have 40 days and they have to be very strategic in how they use them. But I'm ready to get off the road, and I'm ready to get to know these young women and find out how we can make them better. Practice is my favorite part of the day, and just really pouring into them and how can we figure this out on the road from practice. So I'm ready to get to that point. A lot of people, I've said that all summer, I can't wait for school to start. And they're like, how can you say that? Like, it's summer. After we've been through with the COVID year, I was like, I'm just ready to coach and just have a routine and get these girls settled. So I'm excited.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And we'll be watching, and we're excited to see what you do with the program.
Thanks, David.
Thank you. All right, guys, a moment for my friends Dr. Troy Elms and Jeremy Stewart at Elms Orthodontics. You know where they're at, Bypass in College Station. And if you struggle with your smile, if you got some teenagers at home or even a little bit younger, maybe you're in your 30s, you're like, man, my smile has been terrible for a long time. They can take care of you right there. They've got Invisalign, they've got braces, you name it. They're going to take care of you. And you know about their 1-2 punch. They've been doing it for a long, long time. Dr. Troy Elms, class of 86, a mainstay in our community for over 30 years. 16-time Best of the Brazos winner, platinum-level Invisalign provider. You got Dr. Jeremy Stewart, class of 03. They are an incredible team and a long-time TexAgs subscriber. They love what we do here, and we love what they're doing for the community. Dr. Elms and Stewart are excited to give you an opportunity today, and they can show you quickly for a free consultation. All you have to do is call them up or visit them, 1501 Emerald Parkway in College Station. The phone number for Elms Orthodontics, 979-693-6300, or online at drelms.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. This Saturday, the College Station High School Cougar Band and Guard is holding their annual March-a-thon fundraiser. The band will perform from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. at the Tower Point HEB. Donate online at marchathon.com. Apply now for the Leadership Brazos 2021-22 class. Applications are due by Monday. Access the application at bcschamber.org. Trail Life USA Troop 12 is hosting a Join the Trail open house Thursday, August 12th at 6:30 p.m. at A&M Church of Christ. Find Troop 12 on Facebook for more information. For more information about becoming a Master Gardener, visit brazosmg.com. Do you love Aggie football? Then join the Liucci Hour, powered by King Ranch Saddle Shop, live from the tap every Monday and Thursday night at 6 p.m. Stop by for dinner and a drink or listen on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
When your diesel truck or construction equipment needs DEF, WPI has the best price in town. Only $8.50 for 2.5 gallons. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings to teeth, buckets and blades. Any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 east at Marina Road, or click WPI.com.
Want to have fun at work? At Power Sports, we do, and we're hiring for all positions. Full and part-time opportunities for front office receptionists, gymnastics coaches, after-school counselors, and jump-to-learning preschool teachers. Full-time positions come with health insurance options. If you love working with children and can work part-time or full-time, or an education major or certified preschool teacher, apply today. Call Power Sports at 776-0018 or click powersportskids.com. Power Sports is an equal opportunity employer.
Howdy, Ags. This is Dr. Krishna Shanmugam from BCS Eye Associates. I'm a fellowship-trained cornea and glaucoma specialist and eye surgeon, but most importantly, fighting Texas Aggie class of 2007. I was born in Aggie, raised in Aggie, and now back in the Brazos Valley to serve Aggieland, the incredible place that made me the person that I am today. We're the only fellowship-trained glaucoma, cornea, and cataract surgeon in town, and would be delighted to take care of you locally for your eye exam and your eye surgery needs. Give us a call to schedule an appointment today with Dr. K at BCS Eye Associates at 979-701-2020 or visit mybcsi.com.
TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Really enjoyed our conversation there with Gerrod Chadwell, the women's coach here for Texas A&M. Good guy. We just talked a little bit after the hit. He was just wonderful, and I like his vision for the program, and we're looking forward to seeing what he does moving forward. But what I'm really excited about, by the way, we're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, is this afternoon A&M gets things started. And I'm super excited about going out there and checking out the practice vibe and whatnot, and just seeing it. And then on Sunday, obviously the open practice, we'll see a bunch of you guys out there. We're going to be bringing you a lot of content. And I think we're still on YouTube. We're still on YouTube, giving her a couple more minutes. No chance we reach our total today, but that's all right. We did a great job. 500 subscribers away from what the goal was for today, but we're certainly going in the right direction. But with that, we are not going to go to the BCSI hotline. We're joined by Cole Thompson, host of Just Saying It on Sports Map, and he's also on Fansided. What's going on, Cole?
David, good morning. I love being able to talk to you. Congratulations on your gig now with TexAgs. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited for Texas A&M this year. This is going to be a really interesting year going into year 4 of Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, man, we're excited, and congratulations on the show. I know you hit the national airwaves recently, and I did this the other day with John Lopez. I believe, am I seeing NRG Stadium behind you, or what am I seeing? Or is that an apartment complex? What am I seeing?
I am at Texans training camp facility.
Okay.
So I am, I do a little bit of everything. I also work for Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, where I cover Texas A&M exclusively, cover Texas Longhorns, cover the SEC, and cover the Houston Texans. So I'm a busy guy.
Yeah, man, that's great. So we'll start things off on, I know you've had a couple of recent pieces on Texas A&M. Just your excitement level for what it could be this year for Texas A&M.
This is a really interesting team. This is a really good year when you look at Texas A&M as a whole. Jimbo Fisher has built this roster up, and with the UIL eligibility based on the NCAA, they are bringing back so many starters on the defensive side of the football. They're adding back in guys like Michael Clemens and Tyree Johnson, who could have been going pro, but instead elected to come back and add tremendous value up front. And then you have to look at the veteranship that's also coming back. Guys like DeMarvin Leal entering year 3, Damani Richardson entering year 3, Aaron Hansford having a big-time year last year and now being the leader of that defense at the middle linebacker spot. And you have a lot of good guys like McKinley Jackson and Andre White and Antonio Johnson, who saw significant reps last year in a limited role, who are going to be asked to step up in the nickel, asked to step up in place for Buddy Johnson, asked to step up in place for Bobby Brown. These are a lot of talented players defensively, to where Mike Elko has his hands full. And this is a unit that finished top 10 in almost every statistical category in the NCAA. They will finish top 10 in every single category in 2021. And I expect them to be the number 1 defense defense in the SEC. More importantly, what does that offensive line look like? This was a unit that allowed only 4 sacks last year and had so much potential and should have been the Joe Moore Award winner for how great they blocked for Kellen Mond up front and that run game. But you're replacing Kenyon Green. He's moving over from left guard to left tackle, and he's the only guy coming back. So you have to replace Ryan McCullum, Jared Hocker, Carson Green, and Dan Moore. So you have to replace this offensive line tenfold with a bunch of young starters for a new quarterback as well. I very much think offensively, there are so many pieces for this team to be very successful and really contend with the Georgias and the Alabamas of the world and make a statement this year. They finished top 10 for a reason, top 5 for a reason, highest finish in the AP poll since 1939. There is a reason why Jimbo Fisher had every right to say last year, we have earned the right to be in the college football playoff. This is the year where they can show it, especially with returning that defense.
Do you think they do show it?
I believe so. I really do. I look at this team. I don't know what the battle is going to be at quarterback. I know that Jimbo Fisher has said multiple times he is high on Haynes King. He is high on Zach Calzada. Both can play the position very well. And I'm 100% on board with that. I've looked at both film from them coming out of high school and what I saw in the maroon and white game. I think both of them could start right away. No problem whatsoever. The question is going to be, how does that offensive line mold? If you have a really good, stable offensive line, maybe Zach Calzada, a guy who is a little bit more of a pocket presence quarterback, does make a bit more sense. If you need to be a guy who's under pressure a little bit more because if you don't have protection on the outside, Haynes King might be the better option. That offensive line is really going to help dictate, I think, that quarterback battle, and that's going to really help dictate the standings in the SEC West.
Cool. So I had this topic to start the show. How many teams can realistically win a national championship this season? And right off the top, 3 SEC teams are obviously in my mix. What do you think? What do you think that number's at? 5 teams can realistically do it, 7 teams, and maybe a couple of the teams that you feel that actually have that chance?
I'm with you. I go 7. I think there's about 7 teams that really stand a good shot. I think Ohio State in the Big Ten is the only team. You look at them, they have to replace the most important position at quarterback, and we don't know what that's going to happen. CJ Stroud could be the guy. Quinn Ayers now declaring eligibility early could end up being a guy to watch for down the line. They still have, I'm blanking on the other guy, Jack Miller, I think is his name. So there's a really good quarterback battle there. In the SEC, I think there's 3 teams. Again, just like you, I think Georgia is absolutely the team to beat because of what they were able to add in the transfer portal with guys like Darion Kendra from Clemson, Eric Gilbert from LSU. That's a big-time mix, and this is a very big year for Kirby Smart to prove it. Texas A&M, another team, great defense. I think offensively they have the pieces, and they really have a great wide receiver core that hasn't been able to show it. I think they do this year with Aniyah Smith really playing more of a slot receiver role. I'm very high on Hezekiah Jones. I think Damon Demas is a great addition as the Z receiver, and Chase Lane is a great possessional threat, plus Jalen Weidemeyer and hopefully a healthy Baylor Cup. Alabama's Alabama. I think if you go to the Pac-12, Oregon makes a lot of sense. Mario Cristobal has that defense where he wants it. He also has a really solid offensive line, and they're not replacing much there. Penei Sewell was gone last year, so you found your left tackle of the future a year early, which is huge for your organization. I think when you go to the ACC, I go with Clemson, and I'm going to go with North Carolina. I think that they have the one position that everyone else is looking for in these QB battles, and that is quarterback with Sam Howell. They are replacing a lot of talent. Javonte Williams, they're replacing De'Ami Brown, Daz Newsome, but they have a good defense. They had another really good recruiting class underneath the likes of Mac Brown. And then if you go to the Big 12, it's Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the only team I think viable, actually has a shot. They have the quarterback in Spencer Rattler, Alex Grinch, and the ability for what he was able to do in year 1 with that defense. They entered the year as the 79th ranked defense. They improved all the way up to 29th underneath Grinch. I think that they added a bunch of good pieces from Tennessee, like Wanya Morris Jr. at left tackle. They added Kennedy Brooks in the running back field with Eric Gray as well. This is going to be a really interesting team. So I say about 7, 3 from the SEC, 2 from the Pac-12, 1 from the Big Ten, and 1 from the Big 12. I would say those are about the 7 I'd go with.
How do you memorize so much stuff, man? Goodness gracious. There's no notes. You're just going straight from the dome. That's great.
Dude, it's what I do. This is why I love what I do for a living, and this is why I don't get paid the big bucks, but I love being able to talk football. So that's always a fun thing for me.
So when you look at Texas A&M and you see some of the holes that you talked about, how confident are you, though, just in the direction that Jimbo has put them, that not just this year, this year, that the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years are going to be maybe the golden era of Aggie football?
I think you put it right on the head. This is the golden era of Aggie football because you look at the way that this team is built, and having that extra year of eligibility really has helped younger players, I think, develop really fast. Guys like Fadil Diggs and Donnell Harris, who haven't really seen that much significant snaps, they get a full year to kind of learn and play what you would want them to play as a freshman, as a secondary freshman. You get a guy like Musa Muhammad, who's the son of Moose Muhammad, a former all-pro, Pro Bowl wide receiver, getting an extra year of eligibility to be able to play that slot position role. You get a quarterback battle with Eli Stowers coming in. He gets to sit and learn. He also gets to kind of be one of the focal points where you can have sub packages with him. You have guys like Zach Calzada and Haynes King, redshirt sophomore, redshirt freshman. They get an extra year of eligibility if they stay with the program long term. And you have the offensive line really kind of building up. Guys like Trey Zahn, guys like Ruben Fothery, guys like Bryce Foster, who have yet to even take a snap, get that extra year to learn, adapt, rehabilitate, and figure things out. Plus, with the veterans being here, you have so much potential and a top 10 recruiting class. Once again, third straight year in a row, this is a top 10 recruiting class for Texas A&M, and they're going to go on 4. I 100% believe it. They have the right quarterback in the system, I think, coming in with Connor Weigman. They have a lot of talent with guys like LJ Johnson and Shamar Turner in the building. So now you have an ability to have these guys basically redshirt, start fresh in 2022, and really start a new era because of these veterans will take these snaps, which means you have years and years and years of eligibility to build around this organization.
Hey, last thing for you, Cole. Just your thoughts on how these last couple of weeks have played out with SEC expansion and what's going to happen with the remainder of the Big 12 and maybe the American Athletic Conference, the talk of the scheduling alliance with the Pac-12, all these things that are shaken out here from SEC expansion.
So I look at this as a very big opportunity for the Big 12 to kind of make strides. I look at how the AAC is built. I would actually keep the Big 12. I would go reach out to Houston. I would go reach out to SMU. I'd reach out to BYU. They were a top 3 offense last year underneath Jeff Grimes, who's now the offensive coordinator at Baylor. So there's a lot of ties there. There's also Boise State. You have Brian Harsin, what he was able to do after Chris Peterson. They're playing in the Mountain West, and there's ties with the Mountain West in the Big 12 because TCU made the jump from there back in 2011. So I look at this as an opportunity to where the Big 12 can make a statement saying we're not going anywhere. The AAC is not ready to take that next jump. They're not ready to be a Power 5 school. You have programs like UCF. You have programs like Cincinnati, SMU, Houston. You have BYU, Boise State, all these other organizations that play like Power 5 programs but aren't in Power 5 conferences. There's a way for Bob Bowlesby to make this work, and I do think that he will do everything in his power before dissolving the Big 12. As for the SEC, I think this is very good for Texas A&M. I know people have always said Texas A&M has been called little brother by Texas. That's not the case anymore. This is no longer a Big 12 program. This is an SEC program with SEC recruits, with an SEC coach who has the ability and has shown time and time again he can win. Texas has not proven that yet. Texas hasn't proven that in the Big 12. They haven't proven that in the SEC. And Oklahoma, as good as I think that they will be offensively, this is still a defensive conference. And Alex Rich is coaching himself into becoming the head coach at a Power 5 program. I think when you look at this organization, this is a big deal for Texas A&M to step up, and I think this is a really big deal for them to show they are the kings of the Lone Star State.
Cole, I will tell you here before we go, A&M has never been the little brother, in my opinion. People look at a 5-year window with Mac and think that this was like a 30-year dominance. Since 1970, I don't think they've been all that. And I think Texas A&M has had their lumps. There's no doubt about that. But dominated them in the 80s, a big part of the 90s. We had a little rough spot there in the Big 12. Not going to lie to you, but I think we're big brother. Appreciate your time, Cole. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, David.
All right, good stuff there. Cole Thompson there doing good work with Sports Map in Houston. Got a national show now. That dude knows everything. Goodness gracious. Take a breath, bro. You're allowed to. It's all good. Good stuff with him. All right, when we come back, it is time for Richard Zane Around Aggieland, presented by Norman G. State Bank.
Your home for Sunday and Monday night NFL is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The NFL is on the zone.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? we're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Who knew mowing could be this fun? Hi, this is David from Kyrus Truck Center inviting you to come down and take a test drive on one of our zero-turn mowers from Cub Cadet or Ferris. There's no better way to social distance than getting outdoors. At Kyrus Truck Center, we offer zero money down and 0% interest on all our zero-turn mowers. At Kyrus Truck Center, we make mowing as close to fun as it gets. Kyrus Truck Center, Highway 21, half a mile east of the bypass in Bryant.
AggielandBigDeals.com. Shop local, buy local, save big. I'm struggling, can't pay full price. How about Aggieland Big Deals? Yeah, that's right. I'll be shopping local and saving big with discounts up to 30% on food, clothes, and car repair, or even entertainment and personal care. Is it really gonna be convenient though? Just download the app right on your phone. Oh man, that's slick. Now I'm all in. Those digital certificates are fun to spend. Plus I can print and send gifts along at AggielandBigDeals.com.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around, and every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect, in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage. The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
Listening to The Zone on your Amazon Dot or Echo is easy. Even Louie figured it out. 2 simple steps, and you can hear Chip Howard Sports Talk, TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, and many of your favorite A&M teams anytime, anywhere with your special friend, Alexa. Step 1, and only one time, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then anytime you want to hear your favorite host or teams, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. Make sure to set it all up and say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill, and listen in anytime just by saying, Alexa, play Zone 1150.
Oh, it makes me laugh. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So I got to read this text message. I'm sorry, Tori. I'm taking one of yours because it just made me laugh. David, you're doing a great job. Love the show. Just hate that YouTube music. The show is part of my morning. The music is part of that. I miss it. Gig 'em. Ken, I appreciate that. They also said, how about if you don't get to 5,000, we cancel YouTube and the horrible music that is brought to the show. Bring back the pre-YouTube music, Ken. Ken and Brian.
I mean, some of them are good. The heavy metal one you played right before Cole Thompson's segment was pretty nice.
Yeah. Oh, man. By the way, it is. I'm just laughing because the music every time, it's like I forget how bad it is, the elevator music, and then it comes back. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Time for Around Aggieland, presented by Norman G. State Bank. Norman G. State Bank, rock solid banking. You can check out their website, normangstatebank.com. Young Richard Zane in the house. Richard, we got a lot going around in Aggieland, Olympics and life as well.
Nice shirt there, David.
Thank you.
First off, right off the bat,
Not
Tuesday,
a medium.
This one is.
That's a medium?
This is a medium.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, Athing Mo winning gold in the women's 800-meter final, the first Aggie to win gold at the 2020 Olympics, the 4th Aggie to medal, joining Bryce Debney, Fred Curley, and Sydney Pickram. She also became the first American woman to win the gold medal at the 800 meters since Madeline Manning in 1968. She'll also likely run as part of the 4x400 relay team running in the final. You also saw that Annie Coons finished 6th in the heptathlon, her second best performance of her life, 6,420 points, 6,701 at the United States Olympic trials a couple months ago was her best. So congratulations to Annie
Great
on
job.
a terrific performance. Friday night, 9:30 p.m. tip-off, Chris Middleton and USA Basketball facing France in the gold medal match in Tokyo.
Who do you got?
I'll take the United States in the rematch. I know that France beat them 83-76 in a preliminary match, but they've really hit their stride since then. I think they get it done, and I don't think Kevin Durant's going to allow himself to be denied a third straight gold medal. So
Yeah, and after the way the season ended, and he had a great series for the Nets there against the Bucks, I think he's got something to say.
Yeah, I think the United States will take gold in basketball, and if they don't, it would be quite the upset. I think it would be 6 consecutive Olympic golds for the United States.
As it should be.
Dating back to 92. So
As it should be.
Exactly. Football news, fall camp begins today. Obviously, the media will be out there today capturing at least a portion of practice. Photos, videos, all that great stuff will be on TexAgs.com. Jamie Maury heading up all that stuff, so you'll be able to check that out. Sunday, they'll have an open practice. The public will be able to go inside Kyle Field on Sunday to watch the team practice. 4:30 is when the doors open. That, of course, after media day in the morning. Jimbo Fisher, Mike Elko, Daryl Dickey, and a handful of players will get to talk to us. We'll have full coverage for you for the entirety of fall camp on TexAgs.com, so you don't want to miss that. Isaiah Spiller named to the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award watch list, which is given annually to the top collegiate football player with Texas ties, either being born in the state, playing high school football, or collegiate football in the state of Texas. Kenyon Green, DeMarvin Leal, Jalen Weidemeyer, all named to the Rotary Lombardi watch list. The only Aggie to have ever won that award is the great Dat Wynn. So congratulations to those 4 individuals on being named to some preseason watch lists. Saw in baseball news that Jim Schlossnagel announced the hiring of Chuck Box to be the Aggies' Director of Player and Program Development. He's a coaching veteran of 32 years, 25 years spent at the collegiate level, the last 4 years at Hartfield Academy in Jackson, Mississippi. So welcome to Aggieland, Mr. Box, Coach Box, excuse me. Also, Texas A&M Soccer ranked number 9 in the United Soccer Coaches preseason poll, the highest of 5 SEC teams ranked, and they'll face 3 top 10 teams this month, beginning the regular season on August 19th against number 1 Florida State. So we'll get to find out just how good Coach G and those Aggies are early on. And
they're loaded.
They should be quite the team this year.
Hey, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We've also got volleyball news. They begin practice this week. You also had men's golf, women's tennis, men's and women's swimming and diving, all released their 2021-22 schedules this week, so be sure to go ahead and check those out on 12man.com.
34 seconds left. Tori Esprovoa in the News and Social Center.
Jay Clover says, I don't think Oklahoma can win it. I would go with Bama, A&M, Clemson, Ohio State, and Georgia.
Appreciate that. I'm going with A&M, baby. The golden era. Richard, appreciate you.
Thanks, David.
The great Billy Liucci, co-owner, executive editor, dear friend of mine. Great head of hair. Next on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.